My bride-to-be forbade my twin daughters from our wedding because they were too loud, but hired professional kid entertainers for her perfect angels. The truth, I discovered, will blow your mind. A shocking story of discrimination, lies, and the wedding revenge that exposed everything. Have you ever thought you knew someone completely, only to discover they were hiding a side of themselves so cruel it left you speechless? That's exactly what happened to me just 3 weeks before what was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. My name is Marcus, and this is the story of how my bride-to-be tried to exclude my twin daughters from our wedding while secretly planning a children's paradise for her own kids, and the absolutely mind-blowing truth I uncovered that changed everything. The perfect blended family, or so I thought. 2 years ago, I met Victoria at a charity fundraiser for the local children's hospital. I was there representing my construction company, and she was volunteering as an event coordinator. She was absolutely stunning. Blonde hair, bright smile, and an infectious laugh that could light up any room. But what really drew me to her was how she seemed to connect with everyone around her, especially the kids at the event. "You're amazing with children," I told her during a quiet moment between activities. "I should be," she laughed. "I have 3 of my own, Emma, who's 8, and the twins, Jake and Josh, who are 6. They keep me on my toes." I was impressed. As a single father myself, I knew how challenging it could be to balance work, parenting, and any semblance of a social life. My own twin daughters, Maya and Mia, were 11 at the time and had been through their share of struggles since their mother passed away 4 years earlier. Our first date was incredible. Victoria suggested we meet at a family-friendly restaurant because she wanted to be honest about her priorities from the start. "My kids come first," she said simply. "If that's a problem, it's better to know now." "I completely understand," I replied. "I feel exactly the same way about my girls." For the first few months, everything seemed perfect. Victoria was charming, attentive, and seemed genuinely interested in getting to know Maya and Mia. She would ask about their school activities, remember their favorite foods, and even suggested family outings that included all 5 kids. The girls liked her too, which was a huge relief. They'd been resistant to the few women I'd dated since their mother's death, but Victoria had a way of making them feel comfortable and included. After 6 months of dating, we decided it was time for our kids to meet. The introduction went smoothly. Pizza and mini golf, followed by ice cream. All 5 children got along well, with Victoria's kids being especially welcoming to Maya and Mia. Everything felt like it was falling into place perfectly. The proposal and planning. 18 months into our relationship, I knew Victoria was the one. My daughters had grown to love her, and I could see us building a beautiful life together as a blended family. I proposed during a family camping trip with all 5 kids there to witness the moment. Everyone cheered when she said yes, and I felt like the luckiest man alive. Wedding planning began immediately. Victoria was in her element, coordinating vendors, choosing flowers, and managing what seemed like a million details. As someone who builds things for a living, I appreciated her organizational skills and attention to detail. "I want this to be perfect for our family," she told me one evening as we looked through venue options. All 7 of us starting our new life together. The guest list grew to 180 people, a mix of family, friends, and colleagues. Victoria insisted on a formal evening reception at the Grand Ballroom downtown, one of the city's most prestigious venues. The budget was higher than I'd initially planned, but seeing her happiness made every penny worth it. Maya and Mia were excited to be junior bridesmaids alongside Victoria's daughter, Emma. They spent hours with Victoria picking out their dresses and planning their roles in the ceremony. Victoria even took them for a special Girls' Day to get their hair and nails done as a bonding experience. Everything seemed to be going perfectly until about 6 weeks before the wedding. The first red flag. It started with small comments that I initially dismissed as pre-wedding stress. Victoria began making offhand remarks about Maya and Mia's behavior during our family dinners. "The girls are getting a bit loud lately, don't you think?" she mentioned one evening after we'd all had dinner together. I looked up from helping Jake with his homework, confused. Loud? They were just laughing at Josh's joke about his teacher. I thought it was sweet. I know, Victoria said quickly. "I'm probably just nervous about the wedding. I want everything to be perfect, you know?" But the comments continued and escalated. Maya and Mia were too energetic when they played with Victoria's younger children. They were showing off when they demonstrated their gymnastic skills they'd learned in class. They were being disruptive when they sang along to songs in the car. "Victoria," I said one evening after she'd criticized the girls for being too competitive during a family board game, "is everything okay? You seem to be finding fault with everything Maya and Mia do lately." She immediately backtracked. "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. You're right. I'm just overwhelmed with wedding planning. Your girls are wonderful. I'm just stressed and taking it out on everyone." I accepted her explanation because I wanted to believe it. Wedding planning is stressful, and Victoria was handling most of the details herself. I figured once the wedding was over, things would return to normal. I couldn't have been more wrong. The shocking discovery. 3 weeks before our wedding, I came home early from a job site to find Victoria on the phone in our home office, door closed. This wasn't unusual. She often took work calls, but something about her tone made me pause. She sounded upset, almost angry. "No, absolutely not," I heard her say. "I was very clear about this from the beginning. This is supposed to be an elegant, sophisticated event. I can't have those children ruining it." My blood ran cold. What children was she talking about? "I don't care what he thinks," Victoria continued. "By the time he figures it out, it'll be too late to change anything. The contracts are signed, the deposits are paid. He can't back out now." I stood frozen in the hallway, my heart pounding. Victoria was planning something behind my back, something involving children and our wedding. A terrible suspicion began forming in my mind. "Look," Victoria's voice became more calculated, "just tell them the venue has a strict policy about children under 12. Make it sound official. I'll handle Marcus if he asks questions." Children under 12. Maya and Mia were now 13, but Victoria's twins were only 8. Emma was 10. According to Victoria's lie, her own children would be excluded too, unless she was lying about that as well. I quietly retreated to the kitchen, my mind racing. I needed to find out what Victoria was really planning, but I had to be smart about it. Confronting her directly would just give her a chance to create more lies. That evening, I casually brought up the subject of children at the wedding. "I've been thinking," I said over dinner, "maybe we should double-check with the venue about their policies for kids. I want to make sure Maya and Mia know exactly what to expect." Victoria's fork paused halfway to her mouth. "Oh, I already handled all that," she said quickly. "Everything's taken care of." "What did they say?" I pressed. "Standard stuff. Kids need to be supervised, no running around, that sort of thing." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Nothing to worry about." But I was worrying. A lot. Going undercover. The next day, I called the grand ballroom directly. I told them I was confirming details for the Patterson-Williams wedding. Victoria had kept her maiden name professionally. "Oh, yes," the events coordinator said cheerfully. "Everything's all set. Ms. Patterson was just here yesterday, finalizing the children's entertainment details." "Children's entertainment?" I asked, trying to keep my voice neutral. "The princess performers and the magic show," she explained, "plus the kids' activity station in the Rose Room. She's really gone all out to make sure the little ones have a wonderful time." I felt sick. "Can you remind me which children will be participating?" "Let me check the notes. Ah, yes, Emma Patterson and twins Jake and Josh Patterson, ages 10, 8, and 8. She was very specific about the ages and names. Maya and Mia weren't mentioned at all. "And the adults?" I asked, fishing for more information. "Standard reception in the main ballroom." She mentioned wanting to keep the children's activities separate so the adults could enjoy a more sophisticated celebration. After hanging up, I sat in my truck in the parking lot of the job site, trying to process what I'd just learned. Victoria wasn't just excluding my daughters from the wedding. She was creating an elaborate children's entertainment setup, specifically for her own kids, while lying to me about venue policies. But I needed more proof before I could confront her. The evidence builds. Over the next few days, I did some detective work that would have made Sherlock Holmes proud. I started by checking our shared credit card statements, looking for wedding-related expenses. What I found made me furious. There were charges for Princess Party Productions, $800, Magic Mike's children's shows, $600, and Kids Zone Party Rentals, $400. There were also charges for a separate catering order, child-friendly foods like chicken nuggets, mac and cheese, and juice boxes for 3 children, ages 8 to 10. But the most damning evidence was a charge for custom wedding signage from a local print shop. I called them, pretending to be following up on the order. "Oh yes, the Patterson order," the woman said. "Very specific instructions. Signs for the Rose Room saying, 'Children's area, Emma, Jake, and Josh only,' and directional signs for the main reception that say, 'Adult reception, no children under 12 permitted.'" My hands were shaking as I hung up the phone. Victoria wasn't just excluding Maya and Mia. She was creating signs to make it official. I needed to see these signs for myself. The final straw. I drove to the print shop that afternoon, claiming I was picking up the order for Victoria. The woman behind the counter handed me a box of beautifully designed signs, and I nearly lost it when I saw them. The signs were elegant, matching our wedding colors perfectly. But the message was crystal clear. Victoria's children were welcome in a special area created just for them, while my daughters were banned from the entire celebration. There was even a sign that read, "Quiet Zone, Adult Conversation Only," with a smaller subtitle. "Children's activities available in Rose Room, Emma, Jake, and Josh." But the sign that broke my heart was the one clearly meant for the main entrance. "Patterson-Williams Wedding Reception, Adults Only Event, Children's Celebration in Rose Room by Special Invitation Only." Special invitation only. Maya and Mia wouldn't even know there was a children's area because they weren't invited to it. I sat in my truck, staring at these signs, and felt a rage unlike anything I'd ever experienced. This wasn't just about excluding my daughters from a party. This was about a woman I'd trusted with my heart, systematically discriminating against 2 innocent children while pretending to love them. Victoria had been planning this deception for months, maybe even from the beginning. Every sweet moment she'd shared with Maya and Mia, every time she'd called them my girls, every promise about our blended family. It had all been a lie. The confrontation. I went home and waited for Victoria to arrive. When she walked through the door, cheerfully calling out greetings to the girls who were doing homework at the kitchen table, I felt disgusted by her performance. "Girls," I said calmly, "why don't you go finish your homework upstairs? Victoria and I need to talk." Maya and Mia looked between us, sensing tension, but obediently gathered their books and headed upstairs. Once they were gone, I placed the box of signs on the kitchen counter. "What's this?" Victoria asked, but I could see the color draining from her face. "You tell me," I said quietly. "I picked these up from the print shop today." Victoria stared at the box, then at me, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. "Marcus, I can explain." "Explain what? How you've been planning to ban my daughters from our wedding while creating a children's paradise for your kids? How you've been lying to me for weeks about venue policies? How you've been calling Maya and Mia too loud to justify excluding them from the most important day of our lives?" She tried to speak, but I wasn't finished. "I called the venue, Victoria. I know about the princess performers, the magic show, the special catering for 3 children. I know about the Rose Room setup. I know about all of it." Victoria's facade finally cracked. "They are too loud," she snapped. "They're disruptive and attention-seeking, and I'm not going to let them ruin the most important day of my life." "The most important day of your life?" I repeated, incredulous. "What about our life? What about our family?" This is about my family," she said, her voice turning cold. "Emma, Jake, and Josh are well-behaved children who know how to act appropriately at formal events. Your daughters are different." "Different how?" "They're too energetic, too loud, too—" She paused, searching for the right word. "Too much. They always have to be the center of attention. They can't just sit quietly and behave properly." I stared at this woman I'd planned to marry, seeing her clearly for the first time. They're 13-year-old girls who lost their mother. They're excited about having a new family. They're trying to impress you and make you proud. "Well, they're failing," Victoria said flatly. That was the moment I knew our relationship was over. The truth comes out. "Why?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "Why did you agree to marry me if you hate my children so much?" Victoria's expression shifted, becoming almost calculating. "I don't hate them," she said carefully, "but I knew from the beginning that they would need to adjust their behavior if we were going to work as a family." "Adjust their behavior? Marcus, you're a wonderful man. You're successful, you're kind, you're exactly what I want in a husband. But your daughters," she sighed dramatically, "they need structure, discipline. They need to learn that they can't always be the loudest people in the room. They're children. So are mine, and they know how to behave appropriately." Victoria's voice took on a condescending tone. "Emma, Jake, and Josh understand that there's a time and place for everything. They don't feel the need to perform constantly or demand attention." I thought about Victoria's children, sweet kids, but quiet to the point of being almost withdrawn. They rarely spoke up during family dinners, always deferred to their mother's opinions, and seemed to walk on eggshells around her. "Your kids are scared of you," I realized suddenly. "That's not good behavior, that's fear." "That's respect," Victoria corrected. "Something your daughters could learn." "Get out," I said quietly. "What?" "Get out of my house. Right now." Victoria's composure slipped. "Marcus, don't be ridiculous. We can work this out. Maybe the girls can come to the ceremony, but skip the reception. Or we can hire a babysitter to keep them occupied in a separate room. Get out! I roared, my patience finally snapping. The wedding is off. We're done. I want you out of my house and out of our lives. Victoria stared at me in shock. You're going to throw away everything we have because of two spoiled little girls? Those spoiled little girls are my daughters, and they're worth more than 100 of you. Get your things and get out. Shout aftermath. Victoria left that night, but not before making one final attempt to manipulate the situation. She went upstairs to say goodbye to Maya and Mia, putting on a performance worthy of an Oscar. "I'm so sorry, girls," she said, tears streaming down her face. "Your daddy and I had a disagreement about the wedding, and I have to go away for a while. But I want you to know that I love you both so much." Maya and Mia were devastated and confused. They ran to me after Victoria left, asking what they had done wrong, why Victoria was leaving, whether it was their fault. "You did nothing wrong," I told them firmly, holding them both tight. Victoria and I had very different ideas about what a family should look like, and we decided we weren't right for each other, after all. "But we liked her," Mia said through tears. "We thought she was going to be our stepmom." "I know, sweetheart. Sometimes adults make mistakes about people. I'm sorry you got hurt because of my mistake." Over the next few days, I had to cancel the wedding, venue, catering, flowers, music, everything. The financial hit was significant, but I didn't care. No amount of money was worth subjecting my daughters to years of discrimination and emotional abuse. Some of our friends and family members didn't understand the decision at first. Victoria had done an excellent job presenting herself as the perfect partner and potential stepmother. She had even called several people after our breakup, spinning a story about how I had chosen my daughters over our relationship and how she was heartbroken that we couldn't find a compromise. The vindication. But the truth came out, as it always does. 2 weeks after I called off the wedding, I received a call from Victoria's sister, Amanda, whom I'd grown close to during our relationship. "Marcus," she said, "I need to tell you something. Victoria asked me to help her return some wedding items, and I found something you need to see." We met that afternoon, and Amanda handed me a folder full of printed emails between Victoria and her maid of honor, discussing the wedding plans in detail. The emails revealed the full extent of Victoria's deception. She had been planning to exclude Maya and Mia from the beginning, even discussing it with her friends during the early stages of our relationship. One email, dated just 3 months after we started dating, read, "Marcus is perfect, but the twin situation is going to be a problem. They're too old to be cute and too young to be mature. I'm going to have to figure out how to manage them without him realizing what I'm doing." Another email from 6 months later. "I've been planting seeds about the girls being energetic and attention-seeking. By the time we get to the wedding, he'll probably agree that they should be kept separate from the main event." The most damning email was sent just 1 week before our confrontation. "Everything is in place. The signs are ordered, the entertainment is booked, and Marcus has no idea. By the time he figures out what's happening, we'll already be married, and it'll be too late for him to do anything about it. After the honeymoon, I'll start implementing the behavior modification plan for the twins. A few months of consistent discipline, and they'll be much more manageable." "Behavior modification plan?" I asked Amanda, my voice hollow. "She had a whole strategy," Amanda said sadly. "Restrictions on activities, limitations on social interactions, punishment systems for being too loud or too energetic. She was planning to systematically break their spirits until they behaved the way she wanted. I felt sick reading these emails, but also vindicated. My instincts had been right. Victoria wasn't just discriminating against my daughters, she was planning to psychologically abuse them. The fallout. Amanda shared the emails with other family members and friends, and the truth spread quickly. Victoria's carefully constructed image as the wronged party crumbled as people realized the extent of her deception and cruelty. Several of our mutual friends reached out to apologize for initially judging my decision to call off the wedding. Victoria's own mother called me, crying and apologizing for her daughter's behavior. "I don't know where I went wrong," she said through tears. "Victoria wasn't raised to treat children this way. I'm so sorry, Marcus. Those beautiful girls deserved so much better." But the most satisfying vindication came from an unexpected source: Victoria's own children. About a month after the breakup, I received a call from Victoria's ex-husband, David. Emma, Jake, and Josh had been asking to see Maya and Mia, and he wondered if we could arrange a play date. "The kids have been talking about your daughters non-stop," he said. "They said Maya and Mia were the first kids who ever made them feel like they could be loud and have fun without getting in trouble." We arranged several play dates, and during one of them, Emma confided something that broke my heart. "I wish my mom was more like you," she told me quietly while we were making sandwiches for lunch. "She gets really mad when we're too loud or too happy. She says it's not proper. Kids are supposed to be loud and happy sometimes," I told her. "That's what being a kid is about." "Maya and Mia taught us that," Emma said. "When we played with them, we felt like we could be ourselves." The new beginning. It's been 6 months since I called off the wedding, and life has never been better. Maya and Mia have flourished without the constant criticism and pressure to be perfect. They're back to being their naturally exuberant, creative, wonderful selves. We've stayed in touch with Emma, Jake, and Josh through their father. David has been working on building their confidence and teaching them that it's okay to be children. The transformation in all 3 kids has been remarkable. As for Victoria, I heard through mutual friends that she's dating someone new, a widower with one very quiet, well-behaved daughter. I feel sorry for both the man and his child, but I've learned that some people never change. Maya and Mia still ask about Victoria sometimes, but mostly they seem relieved that the constant scrutiny is gone. They're thriving in school, have made new friends, and are excited about starting high school next year. "Dad," Mia said to me last week, "are you sad that you didn't get married?" I thought about it seriously before answering. "No, sweetheart. I'm grateful that I learned the truth before I made a mistake that would have hurt all of us." "Are you going to date again?" Maya asked. "Maybe someday," I said, "but only someone who loves you girls as much as I do." "That's going to be hard to find," Mia said with a grin. "You love us a lot." "Yes, I do," I agreed, pulling them both into a hug. "More than anything in the world." And that's the truth that Victoria never understood. Real love doesn't ask you to change who you are, or dim your light to make others comfortable. Real love celebrates the things that make you unique, even when, or especially when, those things include being too loud, or too energetic, or too much. My daughters are not too much. They're exactly enough, exactly as they are. And any woman who can't see that isn't worthy of being their stepmother anyway. The wedding may have been canceled, but our family is stronger than ever. And that's the only truth that matters.